Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, please call the roll. Sergeants,
Senators,
please remove that man from the gallery.
All your lives are in danger. Tomorrow does not exist. America does not exist.
Mr. Carpenter, please start the roll.
Senators Aguilar, Senator Baumgardner, Cook, Coram, Court, Crowder, Donovan, Finberg, Fields, Garcia, Gardner, Guzman, Hill, Holbert, John, Jones, Kagan, Kafalis, Kerr, Lambert, Lumberg, Marble, Martinez Jimenez, Merrifield, Moreno, Neville, Priola, Scott, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Tate, Todd, Williams,
Excused.
Zenzinger. Mr. President.
Here. Morning roll calls, 34 present, 0 absent, 1 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Gardner, please lead us in the pledge.
Thank you, Mr. President. By the time you get the words down, then your week is over. But I must observe before I lead us in the pledge, we live in the greatest country in the world. Please join me.
Approval of the journal, Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the Journal of Thursday, April 21st, be dispensed with and the Journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Committee reports.
Memorandum report from the Senate and House Committee on Delayed Bills pursuant to Joint Rule 23C. The Senate and House Committees on Delayed Bills acting jointly extend the following deadline for Senate Bill 296 concerning financing public schools. The Friday, April 21st deadline, the 101st legislative day for final passage, includes any conference committee report for any bill prescribing all or a substantial portion of the total funding for public schools pursuant to the Public School Finance Act of 1994, Article 54, Title 22, Colorado Revised Statutes extended until Wednesday, May 10, 2017, the 120th legislative day. This memorandum shall be printed in the Journal of each House as is required by Joint Rule 23C. Signed, Senator Grantham, President of the Senate, Senator Holbert, Senator Majority Leader, Senator Guzman, Senate Minority Leader, Representative Duran, Senator Speaker of the House of Representatives, Representative Becker K, House Majority Leader, Representative Neville P, House Minority Leader. April 20th, 2017, Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy, after consideration of Mayor's Committee, recommends the following. Senate Bill 271, be amended as follows. As amended, be referred to the committee to hold a favorable recommendation. Recommendation placed on the consent calendar. April 20th, 2017, Committee on Education, after consideration of Mayor's Committee, recommends the following. House Bill 1004, be amended as follows. As amended, be referred to the committee to hold a favorable recommendation. Recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. April 20th, 2017, the Committee on Education has had on consideration and had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be confirmed. Members of the Charter School Institute Board for a term expiring July 1st, 2018. Antonio Patrick Paris of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a member with experience as a Charter School Board member or founder of a charter school, experience as a public school administrator with experience working with charter schools on board of public service experience, and as Democrat indicated by the resignation of Curtis Matthew Indorf of Denver, Colorado, appointed for terms expiring July 1st, 2019. Thomas Springer of Lafayette, Colorado, to serve as a member with other board or public service experience, and as an unaffiliated appointed. Yi An Cho of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a member who has experience as a public school teacher and is Democrat appointed. April 20th, 2017, Community on Education. After consideration of mayor's committee articles, the following: Senate Bill 291 be amended as follows: as so amended, be referred to committee of the whole. The favorable recommendation be placed on the consent calendar.
Senate Services.
Correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 274. Correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bill 82, 216, 269, 276. Correctly revised, House Bill 1045, 1088, and 1263. Correctly re-revised, House Bill 1217, 1283, 1267, 1269. Correctly enrolled, Senate Bill 225, 258, and 264.
Message from the House.
The House has postponed indefinitely Senate Bills 4, 181, 182, 191. The bills are returned herewith.
Oh, before you do that, Chris. Colleagues, would you help me welcome our former colleague, the Honorable Senator Scott Renfro. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate proceed out of order for consideration of resolutions.
The motion is to proceed out of order for consideration of resolutions. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Ayes have it, and we will proceed out of order. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we lay over House Joint Resolution 1018 until Tuesday, May 2nd.
The motion is to lay over House Joint Resolution 1018 until May 2nd. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Ayes have it, and that will lay over. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read the title to Senate Joint Resolution 36?
Senate Joint Resolution 36 by Senator Zenzinger and Representative Buckner concerning designation of April 2017 as Autism Awareness Month.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 36 and ask that it be read at length.
Mr. Carpenter.
Senate Joint Resolution 36 by Senator Zenzinger and Representative Buckner concerning designating April 2017 as Autism Awareness Month. Whereas autism is a neurological disorder that can typically be diagnosed in children around the age of 2 or 3, there's currently no cure for and no known cause of autism, and the rate of diagnosis continues to increase by 10 to 17% each year. Whereas the autism spectrum disorder includes autism, Asperger's syndrome, pervasive developmental disorder, Rett syndrome, and children disintegrative disorder. And whereas the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's latest research on the prevalence rate of autism reveals that today 1 in 68 school-age children is impacted by autism, and of that population, 1 in 42 is a boy and 1 in 189 is a girl. And whereas a child's diagnosis of autism, if not treated properly, can lead to a life of struggle, including misdiagnosis, homelessness, mental institutionalization, incarceration, and broken families and homes. And whereas state governments have a leadership role to play in raising awareness and increasing public education on the impacts of autism. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 71st General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, proclaim the month of April 2017 as Autism Awareness Month in the state of Colorado. Acknowledge the work of Colorado organizations such as Firefly Autism and the Autism Society of Colorado to further the interests of families impacted by autism, and encourage the work of the United States Congress and the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment to assist the people of Colorado who are affected by autism. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to Firefly Autism, the Autism Society of Colorado, and the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, you may be seated. If you were watching Sesame Street a few days ago, or if you are a fan of Sesame Street like I am and my children are, you may have caught the debut of a new Muppet. Her name is Julia. She's a wonderful young friend of Elmo's who's happy to share about her life with autism. This latest addition to the show will help children better understand their friends and neighbors who experience the world a little differently. More than 3.5 million Americans have been diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. That is why education and awareness is so critical. It should be a part of how we make our laws and enforce them, how we teach in our schools, and how we give our neighbors the most accessible worlds in which to share with us their contributions. For 45 years, autism societies around the country have stepped forward in the month of April to help raise awareness, Tomorrow, the Colorado Rockies will partner with the Autism Society of Colorado and offer discounted tickets and quiet spaces, suites for members with autism. And today, I'm happy to welcome several members of the Autism Society and representatives from the school Firefly Autism who have helped me become aware and understand more about autism spectrum disorders so that we could bring this resolution forward today.
Senator Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the sponsor for bringing this resolution forward. I rise in support of this resolution raising awareness of autism. I want to speak briefly about autism from a teacher's perspective, and especially I think back to my first couple of years of teaching, and that can be a difficult time. As a teacher, you're learning to deal with classes of students, but it's also really one of the keys to teaching is to be able to identify with every single child. And quite frankly, when I was beginning teaching, I did not have that much experience in interacting with children, or anyone really, who had been diagnosed on the autism spectrum. And unlike some other qualities that many people bring to the classroom, many students bring to the classroom, autism, as has been mentioned, autism is a spectrum. There are no two kids who fit on that spectrum in the exact same place. And as a classroom teacher, it's quite challenging to figure out exactly the best way to provide a quality experience in the classroom. However, as a teacher, and you have all heard me say this many times, that we learn best through our challenges, and the challenges posed by some of my students on the spectrum really, I believe, have made me a much better educator, and certainly the students that I have now currently in my classes who are on the autism spectrum, I believe are getting a much better education than otherwise. But I've been blessed as a teacher to have many students on the autism spectrum, and I've learned quite a bit, and I'm thankful that we're continuing to try to raise awareness so that they can have a quality of life that's comparable to everyone in our society. Thank you for being here today.
Senator Koufalos.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I rise in support of this resolution and just wanted to add a couple of words. In my experience working with individuals and with family members and organizations that are in the realm of better understanding autism, there are a lot of things that we have done in the state to make progress. And for example, there's a type of therapy called applied behavior analysis therapy. And this is a therapy that's an early intervention therapy that actually makes a great difference. And so I rise in support of this resolution. And in particular, I rise in support of my young friend Craig, who lives in Fort Collins, who I've come to know as a friend, and his parents, Carrie and Bob, because this young man, who is now 6 years old, going on 7, I believe, has made great progress in terms of his education and overcoming whatever challenges he had as someone diagnosed with autism. So I appreciate this resolution being brought forward. I think it's very important, and I think we've made great progress, and I appreciate the folks that are here in support of this resolution. Thank you, colleagues, for listening.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I renew my motion for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 36 and ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 36? The motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 36. Are there any no votes? The vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Joint Resolution 36 is adopted. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request that the current roll call be added as sponsors.
There is no objection. The current roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Senator Zenzinger.
And may I request a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
I'd like to today recognize the guests that we have here in the chamber with us from the Firefly organization. This is an awareness organization, a clinical treatment facility, and a school, so they do just about everything for autism, as well as the Autism Society of Colorado. If you guys would please stand and help join me in welcoming them.
Third reading of bills, consent calendar. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read the title of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar?
House Bill 1263 by Representatives McKean and Hanson and Senator Gardner, concerning an authorization for the Commissioner of Insurance to issue a license that allows Unlimited Lines producer to sell limited line self-storage insurance. Senate Bill 274 by Senator Holbert and Representative Garnett, concerning an authorization for non-admitted insurers to offer disability insurance as a type of surplus lines insurance. House Bill 1045 by Representative Young and Senator Lambert, concerning the Home Care Allowance Grant Program and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations. House Bill 1088 by Representatives Neville and Senator Neville, concerning signature verification for candidate petitions filed with the Secretary of State.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move all of the bills on the third reading of bills final passage consent calendar consisting of House Bills 1263, Senate Bill 274, House Bill 1045, and House Bill 1088.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? The motion is for the adoption of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the bills? With the vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, House Bill 1263 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Tate. Majority Leader Holbert. Please add the President. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 274 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Scott. Senator Crowder. Please add the President. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, House Bill 1045 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Crowder. Senator Martinez-Humenick. Senator Moreno. Senator Zenzinger. Senator Kafalis. Please add the President. Senator Tate. Senator Todd. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, House Bill 1088 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Scott. Senator Smallwood. Senator Lundberg. Senator Cook. Senator Moreno. Senator Tate. Senator Priola. Senator Martinez-Humenick. Senator Crowder. Senator Baumgardner. Senator Not Senator Baumgardner. Senator Marble. Senator Kafalis. We're on co-sponsors on House Bill 1088. Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to be a co-sponsor on 274.
Please add Senator Tate as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 274. Please add Senator Lambert as a co-sponsor on House Bill 1088. Third reading of bills. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over Senate Bill 138 till Monday, April 24th.
Motion is to lay over Senate Bill 138 until Monday, April 24th. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Ayes have it, and that will be laid over. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to House Bill 1214.
House Bill 1214 by Representative Coleman and Senator Tate concerning efforts to encourage employee ownership of the state's existing small businesses.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1214 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1214? Seeing none, the motion for the body is the adoption of House Bill 1214. Are there any no votes? Senator Marble, Senator Neville, Senator Gardner, Senator Smallwood, Senator Lambert, Senator Gardner, Senator Baumgardner, Senator Crowder, Senator Lundberg, Senator Martinez-Humenick, Senator Hill, Senator Cook, Senator Scott, Senator Sonnenberg. Majority Leader Holbert. With a vote of 20 ayes, 14 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, House Bill 1214 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Koufalis, Senator Moreno, Senator Donovan, Senator Court, Senator Todd, Senator Merrifield, Senator Fenberg, Senator Fields, Senator Jones, Senator Aguilar, Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over the general order second reading of bills calendar until Monday, April 24th.
Motion is to lay over the general order second reading of bills calendar till April 24th. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Ayes have it, and that will be laid over. Consideration of House amendments to Senate bills. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 259?
Senate Bill 259 by Senator Lundberg and Representative Rankin concerning a transfer of money from the general fund to cash funds administered by state departments for the protection of the state's natural resources.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate concurs with House amendments to Senate Bill 259.
The motion, is there any discussion actually? The motion is for the Senate to concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 259. Are there any no votes on concurrence? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, that motion is adopted. Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. After putting in place the amendment that the House put in place, which I didn't explain too much, but it just adds some specificity on where these severance tax dollars are headed, and they seemed happy, so we should be happy. And therefore, I am moving at this point that the Senate readopt House Bill 259 as amended.
Or you can move that the Senate readopt Senate Bill 259. Senator Lundberg.
I am moving that we readopt the Senate Bill 259 as it has been currently amended. Again. You want more? I move Senate Bill 259. If I said House Bill, I apologize because I don't know how the House could even come up with a Senate Bill 259. So,
the motion is for the readoption of Senate Bill 259. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 259 is readopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Jones. You're already on. Senator Kerr. Senator Merrifield is already on. Add Senator Zenzinger. Add Senator Kagan. Senator Kafalis is on. Add Senator Court. And Senator Todd. And you're already on, Senator Fenberg. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over Senate Bill 254, small bill, until Monday, April 24th.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 254 until Monday, April 24th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Ayes have it, and that will be laid over. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Repeat, I move to lay over Senate Bill 203 until Monday, April 24th.
Motion is to lay over Senate Bill 203 till Monday, April 24th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Ayes have it, and that will be laid over. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of Senate Bill 105.
Senate Bill 105 by Senator Garcia and Representatives Becker, Kay, and Escar concerning consumers' rights to know their electric utility charges by requiring investor-owned electric utilities to provide their customers with comprehensive breakdown of costs on their monthly bills.
Senator Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 105.
Is there any can you briefly explain the amendments?
Thank you, Mr. President. And the House added a provision adding a glossary of terms used by electronic companies so that the electric utility, the billing could be easier for customers to understand. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? The motion is that the Senate concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 105. Are there any no votes on concurrence? Senator Baumgart, no? No, never mind. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, that motion is adopted. Senator Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the readoption of Senate Bill 105.
Motion before the body is the readoption of Senate Bill 105. Are there any no votes? Senator Lambert, Senator Baumgardner, Senator Lundberg, Senator Hill, Senator Coram, Senator Neville, Senator Marble, Senator Gardner, Senator Smallwood, Senator Sonnenberg, Senator Scott, Senator John. With a vote of 22 ayes, 12 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 105 is readopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Kagan, Senator Jones, Senator Moreno, Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of Senate Bill 184.
Senate Bill 184 by Senator Gardner and Representative Pabon concerning measures to define lawful consumption of marijuana.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, please listen up. Hear my motion. Mr. President, I move that we reject House amendments and request that a conference committee be formed with permission to go beyond the scope of differences.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I was tempted to adhere on our great work here because this is Senate Bill 184 concerning measures to define the lawful consumption of marijuana. This is the infamous open and public Use and Marijuana Membership Clubs bill. The House, given its lack of wisdom, stripped out the marijuana membership clubs piece, which was the subject of a great deal of hard work and many, many hours, but has left a definition of the prohibition of open and public use of marijuana. It is somewhat at odds with ours. I'm requesting permission to go beyond the scope, not to revisit marijuana membership clubs. We're not going there. But I just want to be very advised about the open and public use, and not, as we work on that definition, not be restricted by differences and so forth. So mostly, Mr. President, I want to do this because I have enjoyed my work on the marijuana issue so much in my 9 sessions here that I'd like to just do it some more. So I ask for an aye vote on the motion to reject and refer to a conference committee.
Motion before the body is that the Senate not concur with the House amendments to Senate Bill 184 and that a conference committee be appointed. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, that motion is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we be granted permission to go beyond the scope of differences on the conference, with the conference committee.
The motion is to grant the conference committee on Senate Bill 184 to go beyond the scope. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and permission is granted to go beyond the scope. The following members are appointed to the first conference committee on Senate Bill 184. Senators Gardner as chair, Senators Cook and Senator John. Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read all of the appointments on the consent calendar?
Member of the Colorado Lottery Commission for term expiring July 1st, 2019, Kevin Scott Neerum of Inglewood, Colorado, to serve as a representative of law enforcement as a Republican occasioned by the resignation of James Howard Davis of Westminster, Colorado, appointed member of the Public Employees Retirement Benefit Plans for term expiring July 10, 2020, Roger P. Johnson of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a representative with experience and competence in investment management, finance, banking, economics, accounting, pension administration, or actuarial analysis, and as a Republican occasioned by the resignation of Benjamin H. Valor Kaplan of Denver, Colorado, appointed.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar consisting of a member of the Colorado Lottery Commission and member of the Public Employees Retirement Benefits Plan.
Is there any discussion? The motion is for the adoption of all the governor's appointments listed on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, the appointments are confirmed. Following persons have been appointed to the Colorado Lottery Commission: Kevin Scott Knierim, and to the Public Employees Retirement Benefit Plans, Roger P. Johnson. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. In advance of making the motion, I would like the body to be aware that the minority leader and I have discussed taking up a special orders calendar. If you look at page 3, Monday, April 24th, general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. There are 3 bills there: House Bill 1255, 1082, and 1294. And then on page 4, the consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar from Monday at the bottom of page 4 and 5. So I'll be back in a few minutes to make a motion to go to special orders and take up those 2. And just wanted to give you advance notice that we're planning on doing that.
And in the meantime, committee reports.
April 20, 2017, to the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends appointments to place on the consent calendar: confirm members of the Colorado Children's Trust Fund Board for a term expiring November 7, 2019. Jennifer N. Kelhoff of Arvada, Colorado, to serve as a member with knowledge of child abuse prevention, reappointed. April 20th, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration, had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Colorado Health Facilities Authority Board of Directors for term expiring June 30th, 2020, Catherine S. Canada of Denver, Colorado, a Democrat, reappointed. April 20th, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration, had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Hospital Provider Fee Oversight and Advisory Board for term expiring May 15, 2017, Shepard J. Neville of Denver, Colorado, consumer of healthcare, who is not a representative or an employee of a hospital, health insurance carrier, or other healthcare industry entity, and occasioned by the resignation of Mirna Ramirez Castro of Thornton, Colorado, appointed. April 20th, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration, had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Hospital Provider Fee Oversight and Advisory Board for a term expiring May 15, 2019, Peggy Jordan Burnett of Denver, Colorado, an employee of a hospital in Colorado, reappointed. April 20th, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration, had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the State Board of Human Services for term expiring March 1st, 2019, Julie Ann Holligan Westendorf of Durango, Colorado, to serve as a county commissioner and occasioned by the resignation of the Honorable David Allen Foy of Otis, Colorado, appointed. April 20th, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration, had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Solid and Hazardous Waste Commission for terms expiring August 1st, 2019, Teresa Ann Coons of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a member of the public and as a Democrat, appointed. Elizabeth J. O'Connell of Aspen to serve as a representative of the academic community as a Democrat, appointed. Stephen Wendell Gillette of Berthoud, Colorado, to serve as a representative of local government and as a Republican, appointed. April 13, 2017, the Committee on Health and Human Services had under consideration, had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends the appointments placed on the consent calendar, confirmed. Members of the Medical Service Board for terms expiring July 1st, 2020, Ann Ty Wynn of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a resident of the 1st Congressional District, a Democrat with knowledge of medical assistance programs, appointed.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate take up a special orders calendar at the hour of 9:43 a.m. today to consist of the General Order Second Reading of Bills consent calendar from Monday, April 24th, consisting of House Bill 1255, 1082, and 1294, except that there has been a request to remove 1082 from the consent calendar. So we'll remove that from the consent calendar, leave that in General Order Second Reading of Bills on Monday, April 24th. To clarify, Mr. President, I move the Senate take up a special order second reading of bills consent calendar consisting of House Bills 1255 and 1294 at the hour of 9:43 a.m. today.
The motion is that the Senate take up House Bill 1255, House Bill 1294 on special orders at the hour of 9:43. The motion requires a two-thirds vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted, and the Senate will take up those two bills on special orders at the hour of 9:43 a.m. Special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
The motion is for the Senate to resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of the special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of the special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Tate will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, will you please read the titles to the bills on the special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
House Bill 1255 by Representative Norberg and Senator Kerr concerning the scheduled appeal report by the Board of Veterans Affairs to the General Assembly. House Bill 1294 by Representative Weissman and Senator Todd concerning counting a high school student who participates in the accelerating students through concurrent program in the enrolling education entity's high school graduation rate in the school year in which the student completes the high school graduation requirements.
Senator Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move both of the bills on the special orders second reading of bills consent calendar consisting of House Bill 1255 and House Bill 1294.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the special order second reading of bills consent calendar? Seeing none, the motion for the body is the adoption of both bills on the special order second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills are adopted. Senator Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion for the body is to rise and report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
Senate will come to order. Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Mr. Carpenter, will you please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report that under consideration the following tax bills being the second reading thereof makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1255, House Bill 1294, passed on second reading order, rise and place on the calendar for their reading and final passage.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
The motion before us is the adoption of the report to the committee of the whole. Are there any no votes? With the vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. House Bill 1255, House Bill 1294, passed on second reading, order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate take up a special orders calendar at the hour of 9:46 a.m., consisting of the consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar listed on page 4 and 5 of our calendar, including members of the State Electrical Board, member of the Special Funds Board for Workers' Compensation Self-Insurers, member of the Securities Board, and a member of the State Plumbing Board.
The motion is that the Senate take up special orders, consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar at the hour of 9:46 a.m. The motion requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Ayes have it, and that motion is adopted, and the Senate will take up special orders governor's appointments consent calendar at the hour of 9:46 a.m. Governor's appointments consent calendar. Mr. Carpenter, would you please, special orders governor's appointments consent calendar. Mr. Carpenter, please read all of the appointments on the special orders calendar.
Members of the State Electrical Board for terms expiring July 1st, 2019, David Roderick Olson of Naval, Colorado. A member of the public at large, reappointed. Michael Allen Miller of Aurora, Colorado, to serve as an electrical contractor as a master's license, reappointed. Member of the Special Funds Board for Workers' Compensation Self-Insurers for a term expiring July 1st, 2020, Gary Lee Swenson of Castle Rock, Colorado, to serve as a manager or employee of self-insured employers in good standing, appointed. Member of the Securities Board for a term expiring July 1st, 2019, Curtis J. Winnar of Centennial, Colorado, to serve as a certified public accountant, appointed. Member of the State Plumbing Board for a term expiring July 1st, 2020, Anthony John Schaefer of Florence, Colorado, a plumbing contractor engaged in the construction of residential or commercial buildings, reappointed.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the special orders consideration of governor's appointment consent calendar consisting of members of the State Electrical Board, a member of the Special Funds Board for Workers' Compensation Self-Insurers, a member of the Securities Board, and a member of the State Plumbing Board.
Is there any discussion? The motion is for the adoption of all the governor's appointments listed on the special orders consent calendar. Are there any no votes? The vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused. The appointments are confirmed. The following persons have been appointed to the State Electrical Board: David Roderick Olson, Michael Allen Miller. To the Special Funds Board for Workers' Compensation Self-Insurers, Gary Lee Swenson. To the Securities Board, Curtis J. Weiner. And to the State Plumbing Board, Anthony John Schaefer. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we are waiting for HJR 1023 to come over from the House. We'll have some special guests here. Mr. President, is there more reading?
There's more stuff to read across, so. Mr. Carpenter, committee reports.
April 20th, 2017, to the Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy has had under consideration and had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar. Confirm members of the Coal Mine Board of Examiners for a term expiring July 1st, 2019. Richard Clare Shermack of Hotchkiss, Colorado, to serve as a coal miner of known experience and practice in underground coal mining, residing in the state of Colorado and actively engaged in the coal mining industry during the term of office reappointed for a term expiring July 1st, 2020. John Carroll Polis of Paonia, Colorado, to serve as a Colorado mine owner, operator, manager, or other mine official actively engaged in the underground coal mining industry during the term of office reappointed. April 20th, 2017, the Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy has had under consideration and had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar. Confirm members of the State Board of Land Commissioners for term expiring June 30th, 2017. John Michael Shaw of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a citizen at large and as an unaffiliated occasion as resignation of Buck Blessing of Denver, Colorado, appointed. April 28, 2017, Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee, recommends the following. House Bill 1190 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation.
Message from the House.
The House has adopted and transmitted herewith House Joint Resolution 1023 as printed in the House Journal, April 21st, 2017.
Introduction of resolutions. Mr. Carpenter, please read title House Joint Resolution 1023.
House Joint Resolution 1023 by Representative Foote and Senator Jones concerning the designation of a portion of Highway 66 as the Trooper Taylor Tifo Memorial Highway.
Senator Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move HGR 17-1023 and ask that it be read in length. And members, if you'd listen up on this, this is a very sobering and important resolution.
Mr. Carpenter, please.
House Joint Resolution 1023 by Representative Foote and Senator Jones concerning the designation of a portion of Highway 66 as the Trooper Taylor Tifo Memorial Highway. Whereas Trooper Taylor Tifo was born on September 12, 1993 in Fort Collins, Colorado, and whereas in 1998, Trooper Tifo and his mother, Carol Adler, moved to Windsor, Colorado, where he attended Windsor High School and was the goalie for his high school's lacrosse team. And whereas at age 17, during the summer between his junior and senior years of high school, Trooper Tifo joined the United States Army and attended basic training in South Carolina. And whereas, after graduating from Windsor High School in 2012, Trooper Tifo continued down the military path. And whereas, Trooper Tifo always wanted to protect those who couldn't protect themselves, and law enforcement seemed like a natural fit, so in March 2015, he entered into the Colorado State Patrol Academy with ambition and pride. And whereas, early in his training at the academy, Trooper Tifo exhibited strong leadership skills and was full of potential, setting the bar high for those who have and will continue to follow in his footsteps. And whereas on May 23, 2015, Trooper Tifo, who was riding with Trooper Clinton Rushing that day as part of his field training, was working on the scene of an accident on Highway 66 near County Line Road in Boulder County when both troopers were notified of a vehicle being pursued in a high-speed police chase. And whereas the vehicle careened into the accident scene and struck both Trooper Tifo and Trooper Rushing while they were trying to deploy stop sticks, and Trooper Tifo did not survive the fatal impact. And whereas, before being struck by the vehicle, Trooper Tifo shouted at a tow truck driver who was at the scene because of the prior accident to stay off the road, saving his life. And whereas, for that final act of heroism, then Cadet Tifo was promoted posthumously to the rank of Trooper. And whereas Colorado State Patrol Chief Scott Hernandez said Trooper Tifo's actions that day defined the man he was and the kind of trooper others strived to be, and that they were honored to be wearing the uniform with him. And whereas, in May 2016, for his exceptional service and sacrifice, Trooper Tifo's name was added to the National Law Enforcement Memorial to honor fallen officers. And whereas, in his passing, there have been many people who knew Trooper Tifo that have shared their stories of his kind heart, goofiness, laughter, smile, leadership skills, and how much he cared for others. And whereas Trooper Tifo's mother, Carol, said that if you asked Taylor, he would do it all over again because it was his dream to protect and serve his country and community. And she is humbled by the fact that at such a young age, he accomplished so much good in his life. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 71st General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that the portion of Highway 66 from mile marker 32 to mile marker 36 in Longmont, Colorado, be renamed the Trooper Taylor Tifo Memorial Highway. That the Colorado Department of Transportation may accept and expend gifts, grants, and donations for the purposes of the initial placement of signs to mark Highway 66 from mile marker 32 to mile marker 36 as the Trooper Taylor Tifo Memorial Highway. And that the Colorado Department of Transportation may explore a cooperative agreement with the Board of County Commissioners for Boulder County for the maintenance of the signs marking the Trooper Taylor Tifo Memorial Highway. Be it further resolved, that copies of this joint resolution be sent to Trooper Taylor Tifo's mother, Carol Adler, Mayor of Longmont, Dennis Combs, the Longmont City Council, the Board of County Commissioners for Boulder County, Captain Brett Mattson of the Colorado State Patrol, Chief Scott Hernandez of the Colorado State Patrol, Public Safety Chief Mike Butler, Congressman Kim Buck, Boulder District Attorney Stanley Garnett, Boulder Chief Trial Deputy District Attorney Karen Lorenz, Denver Assistant District Attorney Ryan Brackley, Boulder County Sheriff Joe Pielli, United States Senator Michael Bennett, United States Senator Cory Gardner, the Executive Director of the Department of Transportation, Shailene Bott, and the Colorado Transportation Commission.
Senator Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, you may be seated if you'd like. We've been doing too many of these. And this one came to the area I represented. And I remember the morning I heard about this, actually, and that is up in northeast Longmont, just northeast of Longmont, high-speed chase, two troopers out trying to stop that with stop sticks near where an accident had already happened. And I couldn't keep thinking about why some human being could drive their car in this manner, going away from law enforcement. And the result was Trooper Tifo's death. And if you saw in the resolution, what he was doing was at this accident scene putting down his stop sticks, and he yelled at a tow truck driver to get out of the way, which probably slowed him down a little bit. The other officer was seriously hurt as well, who was there with him. But he lost his life. You always try to figure out the positive that comes out of this, and this recognition of his life is part of that, I think. But the other thing, it was interesting to me, I was thinking about this resolution driving in today on I-25. Right about the mousetrap going southbound, there was a Denver police officer who had, apparently it was an abandoned vehicle he was putting a tag on. But it amazed me, every person got it in the left lane and gave that police officer room. I don't know if that had happened a few years ago. I think the high profile of these incidents, I think, raised awareness. But people are on their commute, busy, I-25, and they all got over it. And there were no people trying to go faster getting in that lane. So maybe that's helping all of this. But in the meantime, I think this is another recognition of how people's who go down this career path and their family face this fear and concern every time the officer walks out the door. and what they're willing to do for us as citizens to keep us safe. And in this case, there's a high-speed driver. It was a very dangerous situation. They were trying to stop it, and unfortunately, Trooper Tifa paid the ultimate price. Hard to say much more than that for me. There's too many of these things going on. We need to honor them and do what we can to help prevent these kinds of things in the future to the degree we can.
Is there any further discussion on House Joint Resolution 1023? Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator, for bringing this resolution. And as I read the resolution, I was really touched because this was a very young man. And when you say that he accomplished much in a short time, I agree. His life was taken far too soon. When I looked at what he accomplished at 17 years old, he went to the United States Army and he attended basic training at 17. And then after graduating from Windsor High School in 2012, he continued his path in military. So the parents of this young man instilled a sense of bravery and courage and commitment and public safety, and a lot of young folks don't have that type of character. So the family did a very good job raising this man. And then, after being a trooper, when you think about the final words that he had to say, and making sure that the continuation of safety was propelled, it's just amazing the type of bravery that he emulated, even in a time when he was dealing with his own possible loss of death. So I just want to say that I extend my whole heart sympathy to the family. I know it's not easy to deal with grief and loss, but I can tell you I'm proud of the young man that you raised, and you should be proud as well. Thank you for this tribute and this honor.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jurcevics, Donahue, Tifa. Whew. We have been here too many days this session already. First Responders Day. How many deaths will it take before people realize that these men and women are out there working for us and they deserve some space? We've talked about the move over law. In the past few weeks, it's been hard because some of our troopers here in the Capitol have come and said, Senator, thank you so much for what you're doing, for the words that you've spoken. And those, in my opinion, are not thanks for us, the 35 of us here in this chamber, the 65 across the way. We are residents, citizens, and we are grateful for those men and women who go out on those front lines. Not so much front lines, but just the roadways, our communities, to protect us, all of us. The good senator from Colorado Springs and I sometimes refer to the words spoken by Lincoln at Gettysburg that we cannot add or detract to the sacrifice that these men and women have made with mere words. We deal in the commodity of words. Thank you. We are all sorry for this loss. But thank you. Thank you to those who serve, and thank you to the families who support them. I'm sorry that you have to be here, but thank you for this time together. to recognize Trooper Taylor Tefal. And thank you to all of those who supported him. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on House Joint Resolution 1023? Senator Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. We do thank you. We do thank law enforcement for doing what you do for us. A lot of folks that are in here today for that. It's interesting that Trooper Tefal went to Windsor High. I went to Greeley West a long time ago. And my mother is in assisted living across the street from that high school. It's kind of interesting how things come together. Anyway, Mr. President, I remove my motion for HJR 17-1023 and ask for an aye vote. I request a roll call vote and the chimes be ring, too.
Thank you, Senator. Is there any further discussion? The motion before the body is the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1023. A roll call vote has been requested, and the chimes will ring out in honor of Trooper Taylor Tefal. Mr. Carpenter, would you please call the roll?
Senators Aguilar, aye. Baumgardner, aye. Cook, aye. Quorum, aye. Court, aye. Crowder, aye. Donovan, aye. Finberg, aye. Fields, aye. Garcia, aye. Gardner, aye. Guzman, aye. Hill, aye. Holbert, aye. John, aye. Jones, aye. Kagan, aye. Kafalis, aye. Kerr, aye. Lambert, aye. Lumberg, aye. Marble, aye. Martinez-Humenick, aye. Merrifield, aye. Moreno,
Excused.
Moreno is excused. Neville, aye. Priola, aye. Scott, aye. Smallwood, aye. Sonnenberg, aye. Tate, aye. Todd, aye. Williams is excused. Zenzinger, aye. Mr. President,
Aye.
Aye.
With a vote of 33 ayes, 0 noes, 2 excused, House Joint Resolution 1023 is adopted. Senator Jones.
Mr. President, I ask that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Without objection, the morning roll call, the current roll call, will be added as co-sponsors. Thank you, Senator. Senator Jones.
Could I have a moment of personal privilege, please?
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to recognize family and friends and maybe have a minute to go thank them for what they do. First, Trooper Tefal's mother, Carol Adler. Stand, please, and than the rest of the family and friends, so we can recognize you. Thank you very much.
Senator Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could we have a moment to greet our guests?
Okay. Yes. We will stand in a short recess to greet all of our guests. Senate will come back to order. Colleagues, we're at the end of our calendar, so we are on announcements. Not all at once. Senator Martinez-Humenick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to announce that today, starting at 1:30 in Senate Committee Room 352, the Legislative Oversight Committee for Mental Illness in the Juvenile and Criminal Justice System will be meeting.
Senator Todd and Martinez-Humenick.
Thank you, Mr. President. And you got a flyer earlier this week that said, "What is College Friday?" I know we can't go back in time, but there are many of us that are wearing our colors today. And so if you forgot, you still have a chance to go back out and get your colors. And you can actually go to Illegal Pete's for a free cookie and La Peep Restaurant for a free gooey bun. And so more importantly, talk to youth, talk to our young students in Colorado and tell them how important your college education has been to you, and to make sure that we are supporting and sharing with all of our youth. So Fort Hays, come on up here. Come on up here. Bring your jersey.
Looks like buff colors.
I know, it looks kind of like a buffalo, but he has a little bit of Kansas in him. So there you go. We'll drape him. We'll drape it. So thank you all, and again, talk to the youth in your community and encourage them along the way to go to school, go to college, make their plans successful so that they too can be an energizing part of the economy of Colorado. Thank you, and happy Friday, everybody. Be safe this weekend.
Senators Todd and Smallwood, were those Kansas colleges that were draped over the seal on the front of that podium? Whoa. Whoa. Senator Priola, are you wearing jeans today? $5, please. Senator Aguilar.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I ask for a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Members, today is Colorado's HIV Advocacy Day, April 21st, 2017, and you'll see some folks here in the corner with red folders who are here for HIV Advocacy Day. And when I met with them this morning, I could not help but be reminded of the incredible scientific advances that have been made in the field of HIV. I went to medical school between 1981 and 1985, and in 1981 were the first cases of people dying from an unknown disease. In fact, we had 270 cases of HIV diagnosed in 1981, although we didn't know it was HIV at the time, and 121 deaths. By 1984, 3 years later, scientists had identified the retrovirus as the cause and were able in 1985 to develop a blood test to identify people who had the retrovirus. Just 2 years later, in 1987, azathioprine was the first drug that was created to help fight HIV infection. And in fact, this epidemic was now worldwide, and by 1999, HIV and AIDS was the fourth leading cause of death in the entire world. Scientific advance continued in 1996. Combination antiretroviral therapy was created, and in 3 years, hospitalization and death rates declined 60 to 80%. By 2012, the scientists had discovered a way of preventing transmission of HIV, and now in 2017, HIV is no longer a fatal diagnosis. It is now a chronic disease, and patients can expect to have a life expectancy the same as the general population with treatment. And so in just 36 years, the wonders of science are incredible. We do still have HIV in Colorado. In Colorado, 365 people were newly diagnosed in 2015, and we have a total of about 14,550 people living with HIV in Colorado. And so I want to, first of all, extend my sincere thanks to the scientific community, to the incredible work they've done in identifying and treating and turning the course around on this disease that was the fourth leading cause of death in the world back in 1999. And I want to welcome our guests who are here to advocate about HIV and HIV awareness. Thank you.
Senator Kafalis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, sir. Colleagues, I just wanted to offer a reminder about something that happened in Colorado April 20th, 1914. This is known as the Ludlow Massacre. I just wanted to share a few words because I think it's important that we understand history and that we learn from history. So the Ludlow Massacre, as many of you know, was an attack by the Colorado National Guard and Colorado Fuel and Iron Company camp guards on a tent colony of 1,200 striking coal miners and their families in Ludlow, Colorado on April 20th, 1914. About 24 people, including miners, wives, and children, were killed, and this was referred to as the Ludlow Massacre. It was the culmination of an extensive strike against Colorado coal mines. It resulted in the deaths of perhaps 19 to 26 people, including 2 women and 11 children. So this is a part of our history, and I think it's important that we remember this part of our history. And one connection that I have with this is that there was quite a large Greek community that emigrated to Colorado, in particular from the island of Crete. And one of the organizers of the people there, the tent colony people, was a Cretan by the name of Louis Ticus, and he was one of the people that was killed. And so I have that connection, and I think this is a part of our history, and I appreciate your attention to this matter. I just thought it was important to bring it up so we can always learn from history. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. President, may I have a point of personal privilege, please?
Granted.
Thank you. To add to the Ludlow massacre issue, I think people need to understand that everybody always thinks of this as a southern Colorado issue. It is much more widespread in Colorado. The same kinds of strikes were going on in Louisville and Lafayette and Erie, areas that I currently represent. And in fact, 13 years after the Ludlow Massacre, there was the Columbine Mine Massacre in what is now Erie, in a place called Serene. The town's gone. And I believe it was 4 miners were killed there. And so to me, it points out how people try to better their lives in these situations, and how we need to keep thinking about, just like we needed to think about then, how regular people can make a living and support their family and get along. But I just want to remind people that this was a widespread issue in Colorado. There are stories in Louisville of up by the King Supers, there was a mine tipple, and there were sharpshooters and a machine gun up there, and they took shots at each other back and forth during this time frame. And my grandfather was in a union about this time, and it was a tough time to be in a union. And so we need to think about what those people were fighting for, because that's still current for us. Thank you, Mr. President.
Announcements. Senator Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just wanted to make a quick announcement about the 47th anniversary of Earth Day, which is tomorrow. We were hoping to have something a little more formal to present today, but perhaps we'll do that next week because of a little glitch in the committee yesterday. But just wanted to wish everyone a happy 47th Earth Day tomorrow, and join us down in Civic Center as we celebrate Earth Day and science tomorrow.
Senator Aguilar.
Thank you, Mr. President. You stole a little bit of my thunder. I wanted to announce the March for Science tomorrow at 10 a.m. in Civic Center Park. And I wanted to just acknowledge about how scientific discovery has transformed the world, bringing us life-saving medicine as evidenced by HIV, globe and now space-trotting transportation, and powerful computers which we hold in our hand and sometimes forget to turn off on third reading. I want to quote Neil deGrasse Tyson, who says, "Science is a fundamental part of the country we are. We must not lose the ability to decide what is true and what is not. Science is the exercise of finding what is true. And when you have an established scientific emergent truth, it is true whether or not you believe it. Every minute in denial delays our working on solutions." Thank you.
Any further announcements? Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, we may have some bills to read over later. You do not need to be here. I move the Senate recess until 12 noon today.
The motion is to recess until 12 noon today. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. Ayes have it, and we will stand in recess.